What's up, friends? Hayden here, and I got a real special video for you guys today, something that is near and dear to my heart, and it's the 4 ways you can increase the value and the revenue of your self-storage facility or a self-storage facility you are looking at buying. If we had a self-storage facility that had $200,000 a year of income, okay, and then it had, let's say, $80,000 a year of expenses, that would give us an NOI of $120,000. Now, if we had the NOI of $120,000, if we divided that by, let's say, a 7% cap rate, then you can do this on your phone right now. 120,000 divided by 0.07 gives us $1.714 million value. Okay, that's simple math. That's how all of commercial real estate works. So when we're asking ourselves, how do we increase the value of our self-storage facility? It all has to be around either one of two things. How do we increase our income, right? How do we make this number go up? Or how do we make this number go down? But the bottom line is we're trying to get the NOI to go up, and that's how we increase the value of our storage facility. So I've got a couple different ways here that you can increase the value of your storage facility. Number 1, raise rents, okay? It might sound super obvious, but most people, most self-storage operators are not raising rents the way that they should be. What is the way that you should be? Well, I can tell you what the big guys like Extra Space, Public Storage, CubeSmart, all those guys do is they will raise their rents. If a customer moves in on January 1st, they will raise their rents on, I believe it's July 31st. They'll raise it after 6 full months, and they'll continue to raise their rents every single 6 months. Now, I think that raising rents every 6 months is a little bit aggressive, but I raise rents every 12 months. Okay, I want to get my tenants accustomed to a rent raise, and I just want to make sure that they know that, hey, your rent today is not going to be your rent forever. Just like if you're renting an apartment, if you're renting an office space, your lease rate is going to escalate. So let me give you an example of a rent raise. Let's say that a tenant is paying $100 a month. Okay, I am going to go for as much of a raise as possible, but I'm never going to exceed 15% in the majority of cases. So we have to look at, this is called in-place rents. Okay, so we'll call it IP, in-place rents. Now we have to compare this number versus our market rate rents. Okay, so versus, let's say that this is a 10 by 10 unit, okay, 100 square feet, and let's say the market is charging $120 for this unit, okay? And this is the market rate rent. We'll call this the market. Now, guys, I can raise this rent. I'm going to raise it up to 15% or to the market rate of rent. That's what I'm going to do. I know other operators that will raise it well beyond the market rate of rent. For example, I know a guy who's raised his rents. He's had a tenant on a $100 unit when they started, and even though the market rate is like $115, the tenant's paying $220 because the tenant's been there and just gone rent raise, rent raise, rent raise, rent raise, and they've never moved out. So it's really kind of a personal philosophy. I don't ever like to go above the market rate rent, but I would raise this 15%, and again, that's on the in-place rents. So $100 times a 15% increase means that their new rent goes up to $115. Okay, so I'm going to make an extra $15 a month on this. Now let's do the quick math. If I have a storage facility that's doing $40,000 a month, and I raise that by 15%, multiply it by 1.15, okay, for a tenant, it may be they're only getting a $15 increase here, but for me, over the storage facility, every year, I'm now going to have $46,000 of rent per month, which equals an extra $72,000 a year. Okay, and that's why self-storage is so powerful, is because if you just raise by 15%, the tenant goes, it's $15. I'm not going to rent a truck, move all my stuff, blah, blah, blah for that. But for you, it can be extremely powerful. So number one way to increase the value is just putting in place a standard rent raise procedure. For me, I like to look and raise my rents twice a year. I know other people who raise it every single month and look at the tenants 12 months in the past. There is no wrong way to do rent raises. I mean, there are some wrong ways. If you increase your tenant rents by 400% or whatever it is, then that can be the wrong way. But as long as you're not, charging too much, as long as you're not putting in too big of a rent raise and you do it consistently, there is no wrong way to raise your rents. Now, you may be saying to yourself, well, what if I go and I buy a facility that's never raised the rents and, on this $40 or on this $100 unit that the market rate is $120 on, what if, the tenant's paying $40? That could be a situation where you might not raise them all the way to $115, $120, $100. You may raise them to $75. It really depends on your occupancy and how strong the market is, okay? All right, guys, the second way to increase the value of your facility is to charge fees. Now, what do I mean by fees? Well, let me show you. This is called a management summary report from a software called SiteLink. If you use SiteLink, you know what this is. This is pretty much an overview of your property. Now, this is for one of my properties at the end of 2022. Normally the address will go right in this area right here, but I've blanked it out just for privacy here. But let me just show you how this works, okay? This gives me how much money I've made in the day, which is the day here is December 31st, how much money I made in the month, so the month of December, and then that's 38,000. And then this is the year to date, okay? And that's true, it goes all the way down, okay? So now that we understand kind of how this reads, this is how much the ways I collected money, and then down here in the payment receipts is what I collected money for. So you can see on the year I've collected $464,000, okay? 29,000 of that, 29,963 is from sales tax, okay? This is in Florida. So that's not really my money. That's the government's money. But let's just say if I were to only have just charged rent at this facility, then I would have made $427,000 of revenue. Not bad. But something that didn't cost me any money to implement, right? It didn't cost me I didn't have to build anything. I didn't have to buy anything. Was simply I made $5,646 in this year just off of admin fees. That's when a customer moves in, I charge them $20. It's the industry standard to charge admin fees. Yet I see so many operators not charging admin fees because they're afraid. Tenants, they expect to pay some sort of setup fee. Now we charge $20. Why is this $646.07? I don't know. I'll have to ask my manager why that is. But you can see down here that I had 344 move-ins, okay, throughout the year, which in the end of the year gave me $5,646. Now, did those numbers line up exactly? Probably not. 282 move-ins. So some people here didn't get charged, whether they're loyal customers or whatever it may be. But the point is this $5,646 didn't cost me anything. It's cash flow that went into my bank account that if I weren't charging those fees, then I wouldn't have got. Now, I also had $860 of late fees. So between those two, I had $860 plus $5,646. That brings me to a total of $6,506 of additional money on my NOI. Now, if I weren't charging that, again, it wouldn't have cost me anything to implement that. And so if I divide that again by a 7 cap, right, let's see how much more that makes my property worth. That comes out to, do the math yourself, but that makes me an extra $92,942 of property value. Again, gosh, I just can't spell today for you guys, can I? Okay, now listen, again, didn't cost me anything. Why would you not be charging these sort of fees? So lesson number 2 on how to make your self-storage facility worth more money is charge fees. All right, and number 3 is you should be charging, or at least offering, what we call is a tenant protection plan. Now, just like if you rent an apartment, your landlord is going to say, hey, you need renter's insurance. If you have a house that you have a bank loan on, they're going to legally require you to keep homeowner's insurance on that property. If you have an investment property, then your bank, if you have one, is going to require you to have an insurance policy on that. You can do the same thing for your storage tenants as a self-storage facility owner, and you can sell it to them directly. Now, there's 2 different products out there. There is actual insurance, which you have to be licensed to sell, and then there's a thing called tenant protection plans, TPP. Okay, so let me show you the math on the TPP here. Okay, so the TPP is we can sell this to our customers. Okay, so if here's our customer, Okay, and then let's say this guy over here is called the underwriter. So we'll just say UW, okay? And then let's say that we have the storage unit over here that this customer is renting, and then let's say we have you down over here, okay? So here's how this works. You offer the tenant, which again, this is the tenant up here. Okay, you offer the tenant, you offer them a TPP. And this is like, hey, for $10 a month, you get $2,500 of coverage on your unit. So if it gets broken into, if something breaks, whatever it is, you get up to $2,500 of coverage a month. It's just like an insurance policy, right? Now, here's the deal, is that out of this $10, we pay the underwriter, like say $2 a month, and we keep $8 a month. Okay, now if this $2,500 ever gets claimed, you do not pay for this. The underwriter pays for this, and that's why we're paying them the $2 a month. Now, you could do this yourself and just not have an underwriter and insure your tenants yourself. I probably wouldn't recommend that, but some people who are large enough do it and cut out the underwriter altogether, and they just offer their own tenant protection program. Okay, but I would advise for most people to have an underwriter inside of here, and that way, guys, you're adding, again, this doesn't really cost you anything. You're adding $8 a month towards the NOI. Well, let's say you have 400 units, and let's say you get half of your tenants to get on it. That's 200 tenants on your TPP, okay, at $8 a month. Do the math. Equals, what is that, $1,600? $1,600 a month. And then how much income is that a year? Times 12 comes out to $19,200 a year of extra NOI. Again, if you divide that by a 7% cap rate, then that's going to be $275,000 of additional property value. So why people don't offer tenant protection plans blows my mind. There is no downside to it. It's only profit as long as you set it up correctly. And most of your tenants want their items insured, right? You're doing them a favor. You're offering them protection on the goods that they're already paying to store. If they didn't want to protect the goods, they would throw them in the dump. They wouldn't pay you to store them every single month. Make sense? So item number 3 on how to have your self-storage facility make more money: offer a tenant protection plan. Super easy. All right, so I know I said 4 things, but really I have an extra bonus in here for you guys that is going to be a little bit mind-blowing. But let's talk about item number 4, which is reduce expenses, okay? So expenses, operating expenses in particular, come in a couple different shapes and forms. You have insurance, which you need to buy property insurance. I'm not talking about number 3. Like, you need to buy insurance for your property. So you could always shop it around every single year, try to get the best insurance quote possible. I have a guy inside my real estate cash flow accelerator program, brought me a deal he was looking at. His first insurance quote was like $15,000 a year. I connected him with an insurance broker that specializes in self-storage, and he got that number down to like $3,000 a year. So $12,000 a year saving, that makes his facility more valuable because the NOI goes up by that amount. Number 2, in reducing your expenses, appealing your property taxes. You can hire attorneys to appeal your property taxes for you, aka try to lower your property taxes. And sometimes they'll keep the difference. Like if your property taxes are $20,000 a year and they get it down to $10,000 a year, then you pay them $5,000 and you save $5,000. So it's a win-win. Number 3 way to reduce expenses is power bills. If you have a climate controlled facility and you're paying a lot of money in power bills, then you could go get solar panels on top of your property, and your solar panels, as long as they reduce your electricity cost, then guess what? Your expenses go down, your NOI goes up, and your property value goes up. So you can find ways to reduce your utility expenses. That's always a good one. Another way is going as an automated storage facility. So to cut your labor cost out. A lot of storage facilities today are paying a manager to sit in the office and work 1 hour, out of an 8-hour workday, paying them $60,000, $70,000 a year. And there's this huge revolution happening, switching to automated storage facilities without managers and having call centers and part-time managers instead. That's another another way to save money and to make your facility more valuable. So whatever way it is that you're going to save money, it could be calling your phone company and negotiating your bill every year. It could be calling your Wi-Fi company and negotiating your bill every year. There's a lot of different ways to reduce your expenses, but any way you can reduce your expenses, every dollar that you put towards the bottom line that you save is adding, again, to your NOI, your property value, and your cash flow. Okay, so that's the number 4 way. It sounds obvious, but a lot of people just don't think to do it. Reduce your expenses when and wherever you can. Now, the bonus item that I want to talk to you guys about, how to make your self-storage facility more valuable. Okay, this is so rudimentary, but I don't know why more people aren't doing this. It's called advertising. Okay, all you have to do is advertise. Now, most storage facility owners don't look at advertising in the way that most business owners do. Let me give you an example. There's a company out there called Sparefoot. Okay, Sparefoot is kind of like Kayak or Priceline or whatever, like where you get a bunch of hotels in one place and you can kind of view. Sparefoot does the same thing for self-storage units, people trying to rent self-storage units, okay? So what they do, again, it's just like this marketplace. You can check it out yourself. Go to sparefoot.com and see all the different places. Well, here's the deal. Sparefoot will charge you, like they'll put your facility up there, they'll send you customers, they'll send you leads. Now, if you have a $100 unit, you are going to, and that's like the rent for the customer, then you're going to have to pay Sparefoot anywhere from $150 to, let's say, $400 for that as an ad cost, okay? So I know you may be thinking, well, that's interesting. I'm going to get $100 a month from the tenant, but I could spend anywhere from $150 to $400 a month. Well, let's look at this. So if you have month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4, okay, and then we'll have cost and we'll have revenue, okay? So in month 1, again, if you charge an admin fee, then your revenue should be $120, and your cost, again, let's just go on, let's go on the high end, say $400. Your cost is $400. So you're in the hole here, right? You're in the hole $280. Next month, you're going to be at $220 of revenue, and your cost is still at $400 for this tenant. So you still haven't made your money back. Now, month number 3 is you're at $320 and you're still at $400. So you're not quite there. Month 4, you get to $420 and you've still paid $400 in expenses. So in this situation, you've finally broken even inside of month 4. Okay. Now guys, inside of business, this cost right here is called CAC. Okay. CAC stands for cost to acquire a customer. Okay. This right here, what a tenant stays for, what they pay you. So this tenant that's renting for $100 a month, if he stays for 12 months, okay, that'd be 100 times 12 months equals $1,200. But don't forget, he also paid me an admin fee, and maybe he paid me a late fee too on average. Maybe the average tenant pays me one. So the cost here is, again, $400 to get this customer, but this is called LTV, lifetime value of a customer. If I figure out, and you can do this by just looking at the statements from a facility, how long does the average customer stay there, how much do they pay, and you can get the LTV and how much the average tenant is worth to you at a certain facility. Like on one of my RV storage facilities in Florida, I know the average customer is worth like $1,400 to me. They'll pay me an average of $1,400 when they move in. So for me, if I've got empty spots, I am willing to acquire a customer. As long as I can acquire them for less than $1,400, I will add net positive NOI through the life of that customer. Does that make sense? So if I can, again, in this situation, if I can pay $400 to, over the next 12 months, get into $1,240, $1,240. Would you do that? Absolutely, I'd do that. I'm going to make 3x my money in 1 year. But people don't think about that. I hear so many storage facility operators saying, I'm not doing Sparefoot, it's so expensive, blah, blah, blah. And the truth is if you've got one empty unit and if you can acquire a customer organically for, say, $0, then guess what? You should do that. You should not spend the $400. But I see a lot of people with multiple empty units who are not willing to use Sparefoot. And this really goes for, anything. It goes for Google ads, Facebook ads, word of mouth marketing, sending out flyers. Sparefoot is just an easy example to point to. Most self-storage facility owners aren't willing to advertise for some reason. So, that is my bonus way of saying, here's how you make your storage facility worth more money. Figure out the lifetime value of a tenant and then see how much you can acquire a customer for. As long as you're acquiring a customer for less than the lifetime value of a tenant, you are making money and you are adding value to your storage facility. So I hope that makes sense. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed my cool flashing lights in the background that I got for you to keep you interested. If you have any other questions about any of these different methods, do me a favor, drop it in comment below. I'll happily respond and help you out. And in the meantime, guys, the good YouTubers ask you to click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share with a friend. I won't push it too much, but if you do want more content on real estate investing, commercial real estate, on self-storage investing, follow me along. Every single week, I'm dropping new content. With that being said, have a great day. I'll see you in the next video, and let me know if you got any questions in the comments below.